Shalom, giving all praise to Yahweh Shem Al Shai Basham Okaku Dash Shalom to the 144,000. The rest of the elect out there, Shalom to you all. Anyway, I'm going to entitle this video Analyzing Deuteronomy 21:10 to 14. So we're starting at the 10th verse. And this was a video that was put up yesterday, February 18th, 2024, hopeful year of Jacob's trouble. Anyway, this is a video put up by House of Consciousness, which is Sarnet is one of his sites. Anyway, the title is Jabari, which is a Jabari right there. He's one that follows the comedic ways, I'll say. Jabari is live talking about Deuteronomy 21 verses 10 to 14. So I was looking for something to go into and this video popped up, so I said why not. I listened to some of it. I listened to about maybe about here. I may let the whole thing play, or I'll stop in the middle of it somewhere and let it go. Let's see where the spirit takes me. So this is a question that Sarnet presented to Jabari. Because it's a controversial scripture dealing with grape, and he also mentions Captain Tazariak and elder individual by the name of Elder Yara, which he had a debate recently with Captain Tazariak. I forget the subject, but I saw some of it. So anyway, I'm just gonna let this video play, and I'll chime in when the spirit hits me. So just listen up and enjoy.
Read that for me.
Deuteronomy 21, verses 10 to 14.
Mm-hmm.
When you go out to war against your enemies, and the Lord your God gives them in your hand, and you take them captive, and you see among the captives a beautiful woman, and you desire to take her to be your wife, and you bring her home to your house, she shall shave her head and pare, and she shall take off her clothes in which she was captured.
Yeah, this is of another nation. Now, I remember at one point the ISUPK said, I forget who, this was years ago, they said that this precept right here, Deuteronomy 21 and 10, is referring to when Israel fights another group of Israelites, because the wives that you're going to take are Israelites. This is talking about other nations.
Remain in your house and lament her father and her mother for a full month. After that, you may go into her and be her husband.
Full month is a moon cycle from the new moon to the new moon. If she was captured on the full moon, then it'll be from the full moon to the full moon. And by the way, the new moon is when the moon is dark.
And she shall be your wife. But if you no longer delight in her, you shall let her go where she wants. But you shall not sell her for money, nor shall you treat her as a slave, since you have humiliated her.
All right, see right there. Read it again. Start from 10. We're going to break this down.
That is 10 I was reading.
No, you went all the way down to 14.
Yeah. Oh, you
all
want
right.
to stop?
Yes, go ahead. Read 10.
When you go out to war against your enemies, and the Lord your God gives them into your hand.
Stop. Is that 10?
Yes.
Stop.
That's not all of 10.
Okay, just read 10.
And you take them captive. That's the end of 10.
Okay, now, what do you get out of that? Break this in, because I always bring this to Tazariak and all of them.
I mean, I think that what we're seeing here is something that I think is reprehensible. Now, listen, we know that war is problematic in any time that it has occurred in human history. Mm-hmm. But this is different here. We're actually in the law of God being in favor
Go ahead.
of the sexual capture
Thank you,
and
bro.
enslavement as one of.
My question is this. When you go back to the ancient Egyptians, the Kemetic people, the people of Mizraim, when they took down enemies, did not they take women as captives and had sex with them and made them their women, whether they liked it or not? I don't think, and I'll do some research on it, and I'll leave it up to y'all too. That's with any nation, but we're dealing with the Kemetic people, the Egyptians, so-called Egyptians, which is a Greek word, the people of Mizraim. When they took down their enemies and they saw a woman that they like, did they say, well, I'm not going to mess with you, maybe I can rap to you, walk, show you the pyramids, and maybe you'll start to like me and we can build a rapport and get to... No, did they take these women and grape them if they didn't want to be taken?
Women. Now,
Man, listen.
It says shall not treat her as a slave later.
Yeah,
but
because you already humiliated her.
Sexual slave.
Thank you, brother. And
It said humiliate, so keep that word in mind. Humiliate, humbled. Deuteronomy 22.
how come nobody knows this when I be saying that? Now listen, what I say on that one, I say, first of all, let's look at it. God, your God, have participated in the war and captured this woman for you. See, when I say that, they say, no, he didn't. When it says God have delivered them unto you, that means he helped, he participated in favor of you. Go ahead, continue.
In addition to that, we should understand.
Yeah, the Most High made sure there was beautiful women among there. He said, I like this brother. He's a great warrior. He trusts in the name of myself, Yahweh. So I'm gonna give him a couple of fine ones. They're gonna get caught out there, so he can have them.
Understand that these women are innocents, right? They
Yes.
weren't the ones fighting.
You want to hear
Right.
something crazy, brother? When I had Captain Tazoriak and Elder Yara together, this was 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Don't you know they told me that the woman had rights? I said she didn't have no rights, brother.
She had rights. She had basic rights. She had a right. Yeah, she had a right. She get bent over. Anyway, she had a right to mourn her parents a full month. And she also had a right that if you're not pleased with that woman after you had sex with her, you can't make her a slave, you can't sell her. You got to let her go free. So those are rights. I gave you 3 rights that she had. She did have rights. But did she have the right to say no? No means no.
All her rights were stripped of her. I said, if you listen and read that, your God have given all the rights in the green light to the man and what he can do. She didn't have rights. He said she had rights. This is live on my show.
I'd love to know what rights they're describing here.
Yeah, man.
Because it doesn't seem like there are. The rights that they're giving her.
I say again, she didn't have the right to say no. No means no.
Here are as minimal as possible. She doesn't have rights. There are rules that you're supposed to abide by. That's not the same as having rights.
Right.
So there are rules. That
All right, go on to 11.
11 says, and you see among the captives a beautiful woman, and you desire to take her to be your wife.
The reason they say wife is because they say when you go into someone, she's automatically your wife.
Absolutely.
So God said,
Jordan, come over here. This is freaking crazy. You see?
Father, lock her up, chain her up for 30
By
days.
the way, the word wife in the Hebrew, that's why you got to go to the Hebrew. I keep telling the IUIC that. You got to go into the Hebrew. You got to go into the root. There's a term called etymology, which means, loosely translated, the root of the word. The etymon of the word. the word there for wife in the Hebrew is ayasha, which means woman. It's from the word ayash, which means man. So ayasha would be the feminine man, meaning woman.
days. And then,
See, a lot of these Israelite groups out there, they get caught up in their emotions. Oh, the Most High would never allow that to happen. You look, you got to go by the scriptures. You got to think. You got to take your scholarly cap off and put on your emotional cap off, and you got to put your scholarly cap on. If she didn't want to deal with this man, she had no choice. But you gave her the right to mourn her parents for a moon cycle. And if you were just not pleased with her after you sexed her up, you got to let her go free. You can't turn around and sell her to another man. So she had those rights.
shave her head, and then you could go in onto her. Now, and then I asked her, I said, Captain, do she have a right to say, I don't want to cut my hair? I don't want you to go in onto me. First of all, when you look at it, you kidnapped her at the beginning of number 10. You took her away. She don't want to willfully go with you. These dudes literally stood there, Jabari, and said, no, she have every right. She have rights to do these things. I said, oh, man, y'all dudes is lying now.
Well, I mean, they just...
Well, they're caught up in their emotions. They're caught up in their emotions. That's why the Most High set up men and not women. Could you imagine if the Most High came to Sarah? Because y'all put up there like she's some great spiritual woman. If the Most High, Yahweh, came to Sarah and said, I want you to sacrifice your son, Isaac, do you think she would do it? Hell to the goddamn no. But Abraham did it. Abraham didn't want to do it because that was his beloved son. But Abraham did it because the Heavenly Father is greater than his son, which is Isaac. And he probably got emotional on the inside, but he said, look, I'm going to do it. And he set the whole thing up to sacrifice his son. The angel of the Lord came and said, don't do it. Pretty much this was a test to show. And that's why, you know, where we will be delivered because of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
The problem is when you read something like this, it seems so reprehensible, so subhuman, so misogynistic that they're going to try to spin it in any way that they can. But the text is plain, and it should be clear.
Okay, so you got a comedic individual that says that the text is plain. You can't get around it. You can't get around it. Look, if you call yourself a prophet and you caught up in your emotions, you ain't no prophet. You ain't no Jew. Inside joke.
That this is reprehensible. What they really should do is say, listen, we don't follow everything in the Bible.
Right, there you go.
But because they think that this is literally the word of God.
Well, if they say we don't follow everything in the Bible, they're accused of Deuteronomy 4, chapter 4, verse 2. You can read that. Also, Proverbs chapter 30. I believe that's the 5th verse. I'm not going to go to it. And another precept, Revelation 22, verse 18 and 19. Now, according to Bishop Nathaniel, the lake of fire is an eternal hell. The people that's going to go into the partake of the experience of lake of fire, which is eternal hell, according to Bishop Nathaniel, are the ones that are not written in the book. If your name is written in the book, how is your name blotted out of the book? If you add to the book or take away from the book, read Revelation 8, chapter 22, verse 18 and 19. If you take away, your name shall be taken away from the book. So according to Bishop Nathaniel's doctrine, because he's breaking the scriptures down the way he wants to break them down, not the way the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, set them down. So if there is an actual hell, you're gonna burn in it forever. And then the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, is going, when they in your presence, they're gonna say you should have listened to the apostles of Great Millstone. If you would have listened to the apostles of Great Millstone, you would not be burned in hell with your crew, with your IUIC. You would not be burned. All of them is going to burn in hell, if there is a hell. So you better break these scriptures down right. Stop playing with the Most High. Stop playing.
They believe that everything must be followed, and that is the weakness of what it'll continue to be their weakness the entire time that we are dealing with these doctrines. I mean, let's be clear. It says here that she shall take off her clothes in which she was captured, and remain in your house, and lament her father and mother for a full month. By the way, if your mother and father have been killed or you have been removed from them, I think it might take more than 30 days for her to lament them.
Mm-hmm.
But in actuality,
yeah, but you know what? She got 30 days. Okay, she better, she got 30 days. Okay, stop getting emotional. Hey, there was a movie called Dances with Wolves, and in the movie you had a Edomite woman play. She was like dressed up like a Gadite, and they set her up with the main character, which was what's his name, Kevin Costner. And they said that she had a husband, which is a Gadite, that had died in battle. So they said, well, let's see if they have medicine, if they have chemistry. And they did. Anyway, she was able to speak the language of that particular tribe of Gadites. Now, when they defeated the Edomites and captured her, do you think she was with it? No, she wasn't with it. She was fighting against them, but one guy had her and popped her a couple of times, and she became a Gadite. She became a Gadite, even though she was an Edomite. She spoke the language and everything. She wasn't trying to run away, because she been among that tribe for years. She grew up from a girl to a grown woman. Watch the movie if you didn't watch it. So why did Gad do that? Because they were Israelites, so they kept them laws. They knew the law of the spoils of war. Any nation take over another nation, they defeat the nation. The spoils of war is the gold, the silver, the garments, the women, the children. Some of the men you can put into slavery, some of the men you killed off.
they're trying to tell you, well, she can be sad for 30 days. After that, you can do whatever you want with her. You can go into her and be her husband. So we're very clear that to be a wife in this standard is to have sex with this woman. To be a husband, if you have sex with her, you are her husband. That's what they're saying. And I want you to be clear, we're not using the modern concept of husband. In the Judeo-Christian world, to be a husband is to own your wife. So they are saying you are...
That's a good point. To be a husband, you should own your wife. The Apocrypha tells you that. He that getteth a wife getteth a possession. And see, our women are completely out of order. That's why the Most High is going to get rid of them. He's going to burn them up. He's going to give us new women that's in order. Asked Brother Shabari which East African leaders conjured up the Lord during war time scenario. This obviously took place during the first war Kemet and Kush were involved in.
You're going to be her husband means that you now have ownership of this woman. She is owned by you.
Right.
And she shall be your wife. That's what they're saying. Mm-hmm. They're not talking about this romantic, loving concept that some people connect to husbandry and wifedom. We're talking about the fact that they are saying you're going to take her sexually. So that means that you are her husband and she is your wife.
Mm-hmm. Now, why can Zabari get it in Captain Cesare? I can't get it in LD Rock, get it, because they're getting caught up in their emotions.
It says here in 14, but if you no longer delight in her, in other words, if you had sex with her and you're like, well, it was okay, but I'm not interested anymore. You have to let her go wherever she wants. You have to just let her go.
And then the killer part.
You've killed her parents, probably.
But here's the killer.
Yeah.
And why do God say that? He says, because you have humiliated her. How did you humiliate her? By going into her.
Yes.
By raping her.
By sexually defiling her.
Thank you. There you go.
Humiliated.
Thank you. But they don't want to admit that, brother.
Right.
They keep saying, no, she have all the rights to say no. No. How does...
It's not about admitting it. It's about being emotional. They being emotional. They read the scripture. They get emotional about the scripture. Then they say they ain't talking about that. These guys are not top teachers. They really don't know how the scriptures work. They really don't know how the law works. A lot of them guys don't even know the law. Do you really think that Bishop Nathaniel knows all the laws? When you go from Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, do you think he knows every law? They say 613 laws. Do you think he knows all them laws? Hell no, he don't know them. No, the only laws he knows are a couple of laws. Wear your fringes, and then the Sabbath day is not even. They don't even got it right. None of these camps got the Sabbath right, except for GMS and Sakari, because Sakari got it from us.
Does a slave have rights?
But I'm going to say this to you. Well, they're saying you can't treat her as a slave.
No.
Right?
That's after you let her go.
Right.
They saying let her go because now she's no longer your wife. But being that you already humiliated her,
right,
meaning just taking her, killing her parents,
right,
going in onto her. Now, if you feel that, you no longer want her no more, just let her go.
Let her go.
Just don't even make her a slave. Just let her go. Let her go free.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to tell you this.
Which is one of her rights. It says you can't sell her, you can't make her a slave, and you can't sell her to somebody else because you humbled her. The word humble in the Hebrew, matter of fact, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to show it. I'm going to prove it to you. Let me come over here. Deuteronomy, see, it says, Deuteronomy 4 verse 2, ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, which are the laws, neither shall ye diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of Yahweh, your power, which I command you. Now there's a law, if you're a priest and you have a daughter that plays a harlot, she's married to another man, she's dealing with another man, committing adultery outside of being with her husband, the penalty for that is, well, the husband has the right to burn her, but if she never got married and she was dealing with different men, never got married under the orders of her father was supposed to burn her. Okay? If any of your daughters play the harlot, she's with 2-3 men, and they're all three living, the law, the penalty is killing her, but not by stoning her, not by slitting the throat, but by burning her. She has to go that way. So if any IUIC, I'm just using IUIC because they push that law. Keep the Most High, keep the laws. If any of them brothers have daughters that played a harlot, she just jumped. She's dealing with two different dudes. She might be dealing with a brother in your organization, but be dealing with some other Jake out there, and you come to find out her husband says, "Look, she's playing a harlot on me." Now, either the husband got a right to kill her, or the father got a right to kill her. If she's jumping around with different men and not married, and you have not given her to a man, and she's just jumping around with 3-4 men, the father puts her to death by burning. So do you think any of the IUIC members are going to do that? That's a law. They don't say keep some of the laws. They say keep the laws. That's the only way you're going to. Matthews 19 and 16. Anyway, let me go to Deuteronomy 21:10. See, we do a lot of videos on different subjects, but like we pretty much covered pretty much one way or another, every scripture and every breakdown. We did all that. So now we in a stage of analyzing people and scriptures. Okay, I want the word humbled because he have merchandise, meaning you can't sell her or make her a slave. I think I know what the word is. I'm almost positive, but let's see if I'm correct. I was correct. Aina. Ainaya tha, which is like the suffix for ed. You got humble aina, then you got aina ya tha, which means humbled. So let's click on it. When you read these definitions, it means to arrest her, to take her by force, or let's use the word graped. Now let's come on down to the precepts. Aina, 8:60:31, humbled. Then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his woman, because he have what? Graped her, arrested her, took her by force. He may not put her away all his days. So these other Israelites can't get it because they don't want to get it because they're caught up in their emotions. Let's listen to a little bit more.
In this reading, you should understand that they're thinking that what they're doing is progressive. They're thinking that what they're doing is beneficial. Mm-hmm. And if this is beneficial, then what was happening before this was written? This is as reprehensible. This is as misogynistic as we could possibly imagine. But imagine they made a...
And there's nothing wrong with being misogynistic. There's nothing wrong with the word misogyny. You had the woman, you had the men that was on top of the woman. There was no equal thing What our women are completely out of order. They'll mess around with another dude, and then when you catch them, they'll say, "Well, you messing around with my cousin, or you messing around with this other chick." Well, he had the right to do it. A man has. That's why, like I said, when Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai comes back to this earth, and when Yahweh Shai and the angels take this place out, you're not going to say, "Oh, I get it now." Once you get hit with a nuclear warhead, and you say Yahweh while you're burning, most ain't gonna hear you. And before that happens, a lot of you gonna starve. You're gonna eat your children. A lot of you gonna die. It's gonna get. You see all these people coming up here from the south, right? From Venezuela. You got Hamites, Nigerians coming up. They said the biggest group that's coming up of nationals are Chinese nationals, and they're all of military age. So, them coming up from the south is now we fully understand the fulfillment of the prophecy of Ezra's in 2nd Ezra 15 and 16. Now we understand it. We don't know what the count is. There's millions upon millions of people coming up, and what are they doing? They're dispersing them throughout all the country. That's why Texas is saying, "No, we ain't with this," because Texas got to get a certain percentage. New York got to get a certain. I'm changing the subject a little bit. The Democrats, they are ordered. Look, you got to let them in. Eric Adams can't say a damn thing. They'll get rid of. He's a little guy. He's a little guy. He's a manager at McDonald's. When the CEO come along, you shut the fuck up. Who the fuck is you? Go back there and mop the floor. You are a manager, man. Let's listen to a little bit more.
Law that said that you can't treat her as a slave because you humiliated her. What was happening before this was written? This is as bad as it gets. But you make laws because you know that people were already violating what is an acceptable standard. That's why you make a law.
There was no acceptable standard back there as far as, oh, you shouldn't rape a woman. Back then, the people were different. Back then, they'll chop your head off, and you look at them the wrong way, they'll chop your head off. These were brutal people, man. When they had wars, they chopped people up. King Saul went to David before he became king, and he said, if you can bring me 100 foreskins of the Philistines, because you defeated them, then I will give you my daughter. The daughter, Micah, didn't have no say in it. What did David have to do? Each and every Philistine that he killed, he had to take their trousers down, or they pull their robe up, take his penis out, and chop the foreskin off, because they was not circumcised, because they call them uncircumcised dogs. They had to pull the penis out, take a knife, cut the foreskin off, put it in the bag. Go to the next guy. Cut the foreskin off, put it in the bag. Or David could have told his men, look, they're dead. They're laying down dead in the field. And they coming up, and you got to be in that, you can't be a mo. You know, you can't have that Medea spirit on you. You got to be them motherfuckers are rough. That's, like a heinous crime. Okay, how many foreskins we got? Oh, we got 55. Okay, we need 45 more. Whether David did it or some of his men did it, he had the bag, and he probably opened the bag and threw it. Yeah, you throw it down, and you see in front of Saul. He said, "Boom, you want to count them?" He said, "I don't need to count them. You will have my daughter." And she was already engaged with another man, so they had to say, "Nope, you're no longer with this man." I'm not going. Somebody can put it in the description, whatever, the chat. And this man chased her, crying after her. He had no say. What are you going to do? Kill King David? David will chop his damn head off. Saul will chop his damn head off. So he was crying, "Oh, Micah, Micah, which lead me to believe that they were already having sex. It doesn't say that, but why would you cry after a woman if you never had sex with her? You know, you meet a chick in the club, you might go out on a date with her, shit don't work out. You ain't gonna cry for her. You're gonna say, oh, okay, man, nothing, shit didn't work out. But once you get, sexually involved with the woman, there's feelings. Men get feelings and women get feelings when they have sex. That's a connection of the spirits coming together. So David, I would imagine, and if I made a movie on that, I would say that's how we're going to set the scene up. Because we have creative license. So Saul's sitting there rough looking, and David comes up with a smile on his face. He said, did you get the 100 foreskins? I mean, the foreskins of the Philistines. And he didn't say nothing. He opened up the bag and whoop. He said, you want to count them? He said, some of my daughter. So things were different back then. If you had the ancient spirits of those men, David and Saul, and them ancient warriors, they were put into a time machine, and they would just start killing Edomites left and right. They would just lose it, man. They would just lose it. So why don't we do it? Because the Most High turned off that spirit. He turned that spirit down. That's why it says there's the change in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye at the last trump. When we change, we're gonna be like the predator, and we're gonna be like what's this? We're gonna be the predator and the alien all in one. We're gonna be cold killers. And when the Most High put that spirit on us, these women ain't gonna say a damn thing. They ain't gonna say a damn thing. They just gonna be whatever you like. Cause these women right here, the Most High is gonna get rid of them. He may save a couple of them, but the majority of our women, you black woman, you're gonna be on fire. You're gonna be on fire if you didn't starve to death. You Jakes that been coming on the comment board talking shit. You Jakes that know that you're an Israelite and have not gone to the next step, you're gonna be caught out there. Cause you think this is a goddamn joke. And especially all of you cats that were a part of this thing and turn your back on the plow, you're all gonna eat a nuclear warhead. If you make it that far. If you make it that far.
The reason why you can't go more than 25 miles per hour on these city streets is because people used to.
No living being should ever.
Used to go a lot faster, and they still do.
Yeah, and they was hitting people, kids and all that.
If no one went above 25 miles per hour, there wouldn't be a law for it. So the reality is, what was happening before this? So they're saying, yeah, it's fine that you take her as your sexual slave, that you own her. It's fine that you killed her parents, but now
all women that you get are sexual slaves. All women that you get are sexual slaves because of the deal between you and the woman's father, or in the case of Isaac, it was a deal between Abraham and what was that? Bethuel, I believe. Bethuel. I was going to say Laban. Bethuel. That they made the deal, and so Isaac to Rebecca was what? What were they in relation? They were cousins. They were close kin. And she fell in love with the man. They said, "Who's this man?" He says, "That's your husband." And immediately he pulled her in the tent, and she was with it. And she loved that man. She loved that man. And she didn't know the man. Before she saw the man, next thing she was in the tent getting popped. Now if she said she didn't want to do it, she had no say in the matter. She would have got put to death. She had no say. You can't. You don't go against your father. Like I said, this is why Yahweh Ba'Shem Yah. You people think this is a goddamn joke. It ain't gonna be a joke. It ain't gonna be a joke when the missiles go to flying, man.
She has to have sex with you. That's fine. The part we take issue with is what you do if you don't like her sexually.
Yeah.
And
That's
that's pretty disturbing. But here's the deal. I've said this on your channel and people get upset with me. There's misogyny all up and through this Bible.
Give us some examples.
I mean, there are tons of them. I mean, we talked about the fact that women have to be, they have to be,
What's wrong with misogyny? What's wrong with misogyny? Matter of fact, let's look that up. Misogyny, meaning hatred or prejudice against women. Misogyny, hatred or prejudice against women, typically exhibited by men. It is generally accepted that misogyny is a consequence of patriarchy, male-dominated society. The ancient Israelites was a male-dominated society. So the women had very little say in certain matters, and the term may be applied to certain individuals as well as larger systems, societies, or cultures. And all these nations were like all these nations that took down other nations. They were all misogynists. They took part of the spoil was the woman. What is misogyny in simple terms? This is why we don't want to sit down and have no motherfucking debate with you Kemetic Negroes. And it's not like we hate women. We love women, but we're over women. So is he telling me that, and I'm going to do the research, I'll open it up to y'all too, but I'm going to come around to that. I'm going to do the research on the ancient Kemetic, the Egyptians and so forth, and see how did they deal with their women.
Virgins when they marry their husbands, right?
Right.
And if they're not virgins, then their husbands can hate them. That's
Wow.
the first part. It literally says they can hate them. And
Or you can actually kill them. If you marry him, she said she's a virgin, you find out she's not, and that's also in the law, you can kill him.
her parents have to be able to prove that that she is not that she was a virgin by bringing the cloth, the blood from their night sheets, from their sheets. That's how they prove that she actually was a virgin. If they're not able to prove that she was a virgin, remember what it says. This
token of a virginity. Token of a virginity. Let's look that up. The token of a virginity, meaning. Okay, it says Deuteronomy. What were the tokens of virginity? It refers to the custom of retaining a blood-stained sheet or cloth from the bed where a marriage is consummated.
This woman can be taken to the threshold of her father's house and stoned to death because she sought to be a whore in the house of Israel.
She could be stoned to death, but under a priest, she could be burnt to death.
I mean, it literally says that. And so when we think about some of these things, it is really disturbing. We should also know that the Bible says that the woman is made in the image of man, but that man is made in the image of God. So that we have to recognize that this means that men are in control of women. It says that women are not able to teach. They cannot.
Good. And see, this is why you're gonna eat a missile too. We don't have no business talking to these Muslims. Just our job is to just teach the Israelites in the hopes that they are one of the elect. That's it. I'm a Muslim. I don't want to have no debate. You got $50,000, we can have a debate. Well, you're all about the money. Yes, you're right about that. I'm all about the money, because I'm not going to waste my time unless you pay me.
Suffer a man to teach it. They must be silent. So all of these female pastors, according to the Bible they're reading, they're supposed to shut up.
They're supposed to be put to death.
There are a lot of things here that are disturbing. I would say they're quite disturbing, and I think that people of African descent should actually get to the point where we are able to acknowledge that we are not going to follow all of it. That some of this is reprehensible. But because we are...
That's why the Most High has established a new world. That's why the Most High got to get rid of people like you. Because you're not going to make it in the new kingdom.
So beholden to the things that these Tamil, these Europeans did, we're not even able to do that. We're going to just take the whole thing and say it's ours, rather than be critical about the text that was curated by Europeans. And so that's the challenge that we have. We're going to continue to have that challenge as long as we feel that we must be as long as we think that we must be beholden to these traditions, and that's problematic. I think that we should be really concerned that that's where we are in the world, son. I mean, we're in a place where no matter what we do, there are people that believe that we must be Christian, and that whatever the book says, we're not going to be critical of it, because remember, those things that the book says are they must be correct, and that's really disturbing. There are so many things in this text that I think we should be critical about. But
let me ask you, man, why do you think Unc and his crew jump ship when it comes to Kemet? Remember, they was in the battle with the Kemet on trial.
Okay, Unc and them jump ship? Yeah, because it's bullshit. Once you study this Kemetic nonsense in compare to the Bible, comparing it to the scriptures, you say this Kemetic shit is bullshit.
Why do you think they jump ship all of a sudden? More.
I think that sometimes what happens is we think that we're doing something progressive, powerful, revolutionary, and black, but we still someplace in there have our programming against African concepts and ideas. And I think that they believe that when they see these white PhDs or scholars, that they must be right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And so that's the challenge. I mean, you remember that in my debate. By the way, I don't know when you're going to put it up, but I'm hoping you're going to put forward the debate with me and Richard Carrier publicly soon. It's been 2 months.
I didn't put that up yet?
No.
Oh, I got to put it up then. I'm going to call you.
How's somebody not know that
I'm
he
call
didn't
you.
put that out?
I'm going to call you, brother.
I'm defending y'all watching right here, because there's some of you that want to see it again. It has not been out yet.
Family, didn't I put that out already? I think I played it.
I'm quite sure you didn't. I would know.
Anyway, with that, I'm going to say something.
Oh, man, all right.
Put it out.
Because I put up Zion